Nietzsche. God is dead. Now what? The phrase echoes like a thunderclap across the landscape of modern thought. God is dead. But for Friedrich Nietzsche, the 19th century German philosopher who penned those words, it was not a triumphant declaration of atheism, but a chilling diagnosis of Western civilization. It wasn't that God had literally expired, but that the belief in the Christian God, the supreme moral and metaphysical anchor of society, had become untenable and irrelevant. The foundations of European morality, meaning, and truth had been slowly, irrevocably eroded by the very scientific, rational, and historical forces that Western society prided itself on. This death, as Nietzsche saw it, was not a cause for celebration, but a momentous, terrifying cultural crisis. The shadow of the corpse, the advent of nihilism. Nietzsche understood that a value system built over 2 millennia doesn't simply vanish. It leaves a gaping, terrifying void. This void is nihilism, the profound realization that there are no objective moral facts or truths, no cosmic purpose, and no inherent meaning in existence. For a while, society would continue to operate on the inertia of old comfortable values, living in the shadow of the dead God's corpse. People would try to replace the divine with secular substitutes, nationalism, utilitarianism, communism, or the pursuit of mere comfort and pleasure. But these, in Nietzsche's view, were merely distractions, temporary patches over an existential abyss. The real, fundamental danger was that one day the full weight of meaninglessness would crash down. The most insidious form of nihilism is what Nietzsche called passive nihilism, a weariness, a resignation, a belief that the struggle is pointless. It manifests as the last man in his work Thus Spoke Zarathustra, the complacent, mediocre person who seeks only comfort, health, and a long life, who has given up on greatness, passion, and difficult aspiration. These are the people who, rather than facing the terrifying freedom of a world without God, would prefer the blinking life of sedation and conformity. The Great Challenge: Becoming the Ubermensch. If the death of God means the collapse of all pre-established objective values, then the ultimate task for humanity is to create new ones, to become the sovereign source of meaning itself. This monumental challenge is embodied in Nietzsche's concept of the Ubermensch, often poorly translated as Superman. The Ubermensch is not a biological evolution or a muscle-bound hero. They are a psychological, spiritual, and cultural ideal. The Ubermensch is the individual who has truly overcome nihilism. They look into the abyss of meaninglessness and, instead of recoiling in despair or seeking comfort, embrace the radical freedom to will their own values into existence. They are the self-overcomer, the person who sculpts their own soul and defines their own purpose. Key to this is the will to power, which Nietzsche saw not as a drive for political domination, but as the fundamental motivating force of all life, the drive to overcome, to grow, to assert oneself, and to perpetually transform. The Ubermensch is the one who says yes to life, not as it should be according to a divine blueprint, but as it is, chaotic, painful, and glorious. The defining test, eternal recurrence. How does one know if they are successfully creating meaning and living a life worthy of the Ubermensch? Nietzsche proposed a terrifying thought experiment as the ultimate test. Quote, "What if a demon were to sneak after you into your loneliest loneliness someday and say to you, 'This life, as you now live it and have lived it, you will have to live once more and innumerable times more. And there will be nothing new in it, but every pain and every joy and every thought and sigh and everything unutterably small or great in your life must return to you, all in the same succession and sequence. Would you not throw yourself down and gash your teeth and curse the demon who spoke thus? Or have you once experienced a tremendous moment when you would have answered him, 'You are a god, and I have never heard anything more divine'?" The eternal recurrence is not a cosmological theory. It's a moral imperative. It forces a radical self-evaluation. Could you genuinely, heartfeltly affirm and desire every moment of your existence, the regrets, the suffering, the triumphs, the mundane, to repeat infinitely? The Ubermensch is the person whose life is lived with such passion and self-authored integrity that they would accept this terrifying prospect, thus giving their life infinite weight and absolute affirmation. A friendlier path, the art of self-creation. So, now what? The answer is not a rigid doctrine, but a call to courageous self-creation. The path is deeply personal and artistic. It involves 1. Honest self-deception clearing, recognizing and shedding the comforting truths and moral assumptions inherited from the dead God era that no longer serve authentic life. 2. Radical responsibility, embracing the terrifying freedom that you are 100% responsible for the meaning of your own life. No one else, no text, no deity can provide it. 3. Aesthetics over morality, treating your life as an artwork. The Ubermensch doesn't ask, is this action moral? They ask, is this action beautiful, strong, and worthy of me? Does it express the highest potential of my being? Nietzsche's philosophy is not a pessimistic screed. It is a profoundly life-affirming challenge. It is the most radical permission slip ever granted. The world is empty of inherited meaning, so step up and pour your own in. The death of God is not the end of the world. It is the chaotic, terrifying, and necessary beginning of authentic, self-authored human existence. Hey everyone! If this deep dive into Nietzsche's radical ideas about meaning, nihilism, and the Ubermensch resonated with you, you're not alone. These are the questions that truly define our modern lives. Give that like button a workout if you feel inspired to take on the challenge of self-creation. And let me know in the comments below, what is the one value you are trying to create for yourself? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next philosophical adventure.